Hello everybody, DonTheCrown here, and we have another awesome season for Torchlight coming very soon. This season will be launching on the 17th of July at I think 10 p.m. Eastern. That might be changing. Just check the Discord. I'll have an event for that. But we're going to go through all of the stuff here that they went through. Basically, I'm going to talk about all the different things they talked about. Also, talk a little bit about the patch notes. We might need a separate video for the patch notes. These guys always cook so much stuff. But first, just starting off, what the new season mechanic is basically in maps or in Netherrealm stages, you're going to come across these kind of like these loot kind of trucks, and when you go and activate the trucks, these like little treasure goblin guys are going to pop out with these little chests, and they're going to be invulnerable for a short period of time, but when you kill them, they're going to summon down elites or just enemies basically to kind of like try to protect the loot. And you can go and like chase the treasure goblins and try to kill as many as you possibly can. And apparently if you kill more treasure goblins you kill, the more like tower coins you get, which is like the currency. And then the elites that kind of, or the like guards that come to defend the treasure goblin, drop like more loot, like flame elementium and stuff like that. You probably want to do a mix of both. Just seems kind of cool. And basically you're working on your crime rating. So basically GTA 6 and TLI before GTA 6, which is kind of cool. You're gonna be able to build up these coins here to level up your crime rating. And there's a whole bunch of different things over here, from like how difficult the carjack is, how much more loot, and you get bounties and stuff like that. And we can kind of see some of these, like the bounty appearance rate as you level up, you have a chance of having them appear, which I just think is pretty neat. And then one of the things you can get are these bounties, and this is one's apparently super duper rare, but you're gonna have to defeat 280 reinforcements. There's more rare monsters that appear, and there is apparently the chief guard who's gonna chase you around and try to murder you. And if you are successfully able to complete this, it's gonna be able to do 180 FE. This one's probably like super duper rare, seeing how it says bounty order astronomical. So I'm assuming that it's probably gonna be cheaper, but for the most part, these just seem like free money, which is just pretty nice to get. Especially since it's already an in-map mechanic, which is pretty nice. And yeah, it really does kind of remind me of like just like it's a treasure goblin shrine almost. It's like kind of like Breach almost, where like enemies pop out, you kill those enemies and they spawn more enemies. It kind of seems like you might want to stay close to the truck so that you can like bump into more treasure goblins as opposed to running after them. But yeah. Now, one of the big mechanics they're adding this season is gambling. If you are a big fan of like harvest gambling in Path of Exile, this season is going to be really awesome for you. So there's a whole bunch of different things that you can do, from like gambling your energy. I think this is going to be like pretty low tier type of thing. You're going to get a random percentage between level 0 and 100, and all affix values on non-legendary gear that you put in the window are going to be scaled by that percentage. So pretty much I think that means that if you get lucky and hit like a 100, all of your stats on your piece of gear will be perfect, which is typically pretty hard to do right now with Truth. So yeah, being able to have that as an option, especially for endgame, I think it's gonna be pretty desirable by most people. You'll be able to re-roll the base affixes of priceless gear, so like change the value, maybe even change what it is. I'm not really sure exactly how that works. However, there is a small chance to delete a base affix, so that could go bad for you. Likewise, you can re-roll corrosion base affixes, and you can also re-roll undetermined fates. And so the undetermined fate pretty much like has a probably decent chance to change like a small fate to a medium fate. And so the like terrible micro fate ones, like the one micro fate that nobody wanted, probably has a chance now to become very, very good. So it's going to add a lot of value to Arcana. Just give you kind of a couple of different ways to kind of like high roll, make money. And then everybody's favorite, gambling on fluorescent memories. And so you have a chance to increase the quantity up to double, keep the quantity the same, or reduce the quantity. And I could really see a lot of people losing a lot of money from this. or just making a lot. And so it's gonna be a lot of fun to kind of like see this. It's gonna be some good YouTube gamble content coming. I personally don't really like doing this type of stuff too much. However, I'll probably do some videos of this season, which should be pretty cool. And this is called Hot Streak. Now, Hot Streak's not the only thing that they're adding this season. It's kind of it's kind of crazy. They're basically giving you the ability to put a legendary into your weapon, and or just like put a bonus effect onto your weapon or shield. It's not really clear how this works on two-handers, but you can go and put things like mini eternity on your weapon, or like make it so that you always have 100 points of fixed order, or a whole bunch of different stuff. And this is apparently kind of like random crafting kind of stuff, so I could see people really like spending a lot of time like making some really good pieces this way. It might be incredibly difficult to do some of these things, but we'll have to see kind of like how these work out. Definitely going to be massively impacting the end game and builds. Now, one thing to note is that Sandlord is going core, but Sandlord is no longer going to be able to blend hero traits onto belts. And so we're losing quite a bit of power for a lot of builds there. However, this system here is going to add so much power. Like even just this basic one here, 10% additional spell damage on 2 weapons just for free, for extra, for basically not having to do anything special. That is pretty much like going to be very impactful to the meta and to gaming, and we're going to see kind of like what works out for these. Now, the new hero is going to be Rosa 2, the Unsullied Blade. It looks like she is a dual wielder that has like ice, fire, lightning themes. We'll see her here like using like the I think it's called ice blades or something like that. It's like a frost blade type of skill. And she has this big AoE circle around her, and I believe that when she hits a enemy that is inside the circle, every like half of a second, every enemy inside the circle gets like shocked with those little lightning bolts for the damage that was dealt to that single target enemy. And so like you can basically go and like hit an elite and all of the other enemies around you get destroyed. It's just gonna be really, really good for like overall clear speed kind of stuff. You can like focus your build on being a single target menace, and that's not really going to hurt your clear speed all that much, which I think is just pretty cool. Now there's also a ton of gameplay changes and stuff. One of the big ones here is that they are completely reworking imbue skills, and they're now calling them focus skills. And it's kind of a little bit of a doozy. Basically how they work is you do something and it builds up a focus charge, and then you consume that focus charge for stuff to happen. In this particular example here, you can kind of see them like hitting enemies, and these like spears come out of the ground to hit them. This is the like physical focus skill. And so, yeah, it seems pretty strong. And there's like one for every single element. There's some like on death explosions. There's lightning that's flying everywhere. Fire has a lot of like damage stuff. And so like the lightning one is it'll proc like as you are moving, it'll build up the focus. The physical one is like a melee hits. I believe that the ice one is for hitting frostbitten enemies, and then the fire one's for igniting them, and then the corrosion one I think just builds up on its own time. And they've added a whole bunch of new supports to support these particular skills, and they've added like some new legendary stuff as well, maybe even some stuff on the passive tree rework, which we'll talk about here in a second. But as you can see, it gets pretty crazy pretty quickly, and so I think this is adding like a whole new archetype of gameplay basically to the game. Maybe just like a pure focus style build is going to be a thing. I mean, some of the damage numbers you can see here, what they're popping off, it's pretty nuts. So pretty excited about that. They always cook up some crazy stuff in this game, and they're also adding some pretty bonkers legendaries. This might be one of the most head scratcher OP legendary that I've ever seen them add to the game. But we can see here that this, I think it has like 2 tier 0 corroded mods. They probably like edited this in. We get like max elemental res, elemental resistance penetration is equal to your minimum effective elemental resistance. So like If you're at like 75 all res, then your penetration is 75 penetration. And you might think that's the cool part of this particular legendary, but it's actually Edict of Trinity. Any hit dealing elemental damage is guaranteed to deal 6 times elemental damage. Attacks deal a random type of elemental damage on hit. Lower the flat damage percentage of an elemental damage, the higher chance it is of being chosen. And then damage types cannot be converted. I think how this is going to work, because there are no elemental attack skills in the game. It'll be like you cast Thunder Spike and it goes and sees, do you have flat fire, do you have flat cold, do you have flat lightning? And like if all of them are equal, it'll just pick a random one. And if like you have a lot of lightning flat, it'll be more likely to be fire or cold. And I think you're gonna be able to do this to like make certain skills do damage types that they shouldn't really do. And honestly, this really is not going to be too much of a problem of you just having a random element, with the exception of maybe not having the right curse all of the time. But I'm sure you could probably go and get like a little bit of flat cold, a little bit of flat lightning, and then always hit for fire or something. So it's going to be really interesting to see what people do with this. I have a feeling it's going to be a very expensive piece of gear, and we'll, have to see how that shakes out. There is some new gear here as well for like Moto builds with like consume percentage of life for minions. I'm not really a big Moto fan, so I don't really know how impactful this is going to be, but kind of neat to see that she'll try and make Moto good for us. And I think there was one more. I think that's later in the video. Solid River here. This is a new Spell Burst hat, which at first glance, I was kind of like, why would everyone use this when there's the other Spell Burst hat? Well, you can put like half of that Spell Burst hat, or the other one, on your weapon. So Solid River could potentially be really good. It could be solid, you could say. Now, we talked briefly about the passive tree rework, and yeah, there's a lot of changes here. Rest in peace, build makers sleep, because yeah, there's just a lot of stuff. First thing you may notice is that there is a new row of passives here, right? And so every single tree has a new sub tree to it. And then over there on the right, or on the left, sorry, you might notice now that you get +1 more tree, and it looks like you basically get to pick one tree in your starter tree, and then you can pick 2 of the random ones. And so you go to Warlock and Lich, for example, or just pick up any of these different things. And I think it's gonna be very, very interesting to see kind of like what the meta shakes out here. There's gonna be a lot of changes, and you might be like, well, if we have more trees, aren't we going to need more passive points? Well, in order to activate the major talents, you only need 24 points in all of the branch trees, but there's some other differences too. So in your base tree, the like Goddess of Knowledge tree, you get 2 main skill things from a choice of 3, just like you always have. But in the base trees, you're only going to get 1 major talent, but you have to choose from them from 4 different ones. So we're kind of losing a major talent here, but it's making it so that we can spread out across more trees and be a little bit more flexible with our builds and get more of the like legendary nodes all the way on the far right, because it does like, seem like the trees are probably going to have to be smaller to make it so that we can actually get all the different things. So you're only putting 24 points basically in each different tree. And I think it's just going to be very powerful. Very much looking forward to figuring out what's going to be good for that. Oh yeah, the other legendary I didn't talk about here is the return of the Necklace of the Firebird. This is basically like when you have a barrier and you take damage, you explode and do damage. And this was like a huge meta type of item when I first started playing the game, and then they removed it and now they have returned it, and it looks pretty cool. So definitely this will probably be a build. This will be something that people will be playing. Whether or not be something playing right away, I don't really know about that, but we'll have to see. Next up, Karino III has gotten completely reworked. When I say completely reworked, I'm not really sure if he's going to be good. A lot of his numbers look like they kind of went down. And I'm not really sure about that. They did also make it so that there's no Annihilator and mobile mode, so it's all just one thing, and you're able to like kind of like stay in burning red a whole bunch. So maybe that'll be okay. But right now, I'm not sure that Karino III actually got a buff as much as it just got reworked. Now, being able to sit in burning red might be like the thing that makes them really, really good. I just personally really don't enjoy burning red because you do get forced to reload, and even having like a 0.8 second period of not attacking can be pretty dangerous, and it kind of just hurts your DPS, like especially when you're damage capped out. Like if you're at 15 trillion DPS, well, you know, having it 0.8 seconds of reload time, you know, cuts into that overall DPS, which does kind of suck. Now, they also have gone through and reworked the gear a lot. A lot of the converts elemental stuff has been like moved around. So like the erosion to lightning boots used to be like super expensive, super popular, and now you can get that stat also on chest. The values have been reduced as well, so you might have to get it on boots as well. But you know, we'll see about that particular kind of stuff. And like there's really is a lot of these changes, probably a little too much to go through in this video, but you know, pretty excited about that. They also kind of did a little bit of a rework here to the void chart stuff. First thing I kind of noticed right off the bat is that they put all of the like kind of seasonal content here in its own little block with the other things over here, so that you're going to be kind of like unlocking things. It does look like you're going to be unlocking Sandlord pretty early here as like maybe like one of the first trees. This was typically like Pirate Tree. So I'm not really sure what's going on there, or if they made any changes to this. We'll have to find out. But they also made some massive, profound even, changes to the Profound tree. There's a lot more options. There's a lot more cool things to do in here. It's going to really shake up how you're going to be farming this season. There's going to be a ton of different strategies and thoughts to make stuff work. I'm not really sure how to make this one work. Cuts your loot in half, but activating nodes in a non-gameplay talent constellation no longer require prerequisite nodes to be activated first. So you can potentially do some really cool things with this. There's ones where like you have a chance to spawn bosses if you don't use compasses. There's one that like makes it so that if you don't use a legendary compass, it counts as if you didn't use compasses. So overall, pretty cool. They're also making Sprout of Legends be like a big reward for the end game of the Netherrealm. It's going to drop significantly more likely in the deep space section. They also are making it so that the card from the fire zone that gives you the prairie card no longer drops there in the fire zone. So if you go to blistering lava sea, we go over here, immolating flame sparks set the prairie ablaze only will now drop in deep space as opposed to, you know, dropping in there. And instead what will drop from what will drop from the fire area is the only way to get level 21 main skills. Will drop as a card there. So deep space is going to be a little bit more desirable to farm this season, which I think is a good change. It was really bad last season. They're making it so that flame sand no longer drops in cube, which I think is just a huge W. They are making it so that if you are running the doll, you know, this particular mechanic, you can't have the boss take over your entire run. So what would happen sometimes is you would talk to the first NPC and you would get a boss. It would just be a boss portal there, and you wouldn't be able to actually use the map that you just spent a ton of currency investing into, and you just have a boss. Instead, the boss will be at the end and you get all your loot, which I think is pretty good. Now, Oasis also is going core. They're reducing the costs of like everything by a lot, making things build, I think, a lot faster as well, and just be a lot easier to set up, a lot easier to send out orders and things. I kind of wish that they had maybe gone with what PoE did, where they just made everything like automatically already built out. But, you know, we'll have to see how it works. I'm sure the belt stuff is still going to be very desirable. Now we're getting a new Watcher that is replacing the Griffin Watcher. So now all of the bosses of all the different regions are actually going to feel like real bosses. This guy looks like he's going to kick your butt. This guy looks scary. Very scary. And I'll show you. Lots of red swords flying everywhere. You have like a giant sword dropping down on you. And yeah, looks like this fight is going to be difficult, maybe not very fun at times. And I think we're all going to miss the Griffin. So give an F in the comments for the Griffin if you're going to miss him. But pretty hard. But don't worry, this is not the only place you're gonna have to fight this guy, because he is now the new boss of the Supreme Showdown 20, and he has even more bullcrap to fight you with. It's gonna be an interesting season. Very, very difficult fight probably, and just looking forward to beating SS20 and having fun with it again. The mechanic is going to be the bomb that we had from the first season of SS20, which was pretty cool. And when these guys, the squid guys, return as the SS21 boss. Now, some other quality of life stuff that they're adding is making it a lot easier for you to scrap gear and to preview what you're going to be getting in advance. So when you're putting stuff into the recycler here, it's going to give you a preview of what to expect. And if you're like, hey, I just want to throw out all of my hero memories here, you can just click, 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 and all of the hero memories will go into the scrapper, all the legendary gears or all the normal hero gear. So you don't always have to be maybe necessarily locking everything all of the time. And this system, I believe, also works on the other tabs as well. So it'll be a lot easier for you to hey, I want to scrap all my flame sand or something, which I think is a good change. They're also making it so that flame sand can be handed in up to 1000 FE that is bound this season, which is a very good change as well. And this whole shop section here has gotten really buffed. So you get the flame fuel, you get all of the other vendors basically that were kind of all around town. Now they're all in one spot, which is just super great. Now they are also adding some interesting filter changes, which probably you're not gonna have to worry about too much, except for I need your help in the comments down below. Help me figure out what sounds we should add to our loot filter, because you're going to be able to upload your own custom sounds for your loot filter. And if you happen to be a popular filter maker, you can even upload your own custom sounds that other people can use. And seeing how on the loot filters and NA, I have, I think 2 out of the top 5 filters, we're probably going to have to figure out some noises. So let me know what you think in the comments down below. Maybe do some dungeon crawler Carl sounds. And also it's gonna be a lot easier for you to keep your filter updated. So if I make any changes, you're going to be able to see the changes and download them immediately without having to do extra work. Now they're also making some differences to the damage cap. Previously it was you be able to damage cap in 1 frame. So you'd have 30 frames a second. So you'd have to do 500 billion damage per frame in order to hit damage cap. And they made it so now that it's 3 frames of 1.5 trillion. Now it's going to be 6 frames of 3 trillion. And so they're just making it a little bit easier for, players to hit damage cap with slower hitting builds. Basically going to have 6 sections of damage basically that you're going to be able to do. I think I did the math there. 6 sections of damage as opposed to what was previously 30, and then went down to what was it, 12? So yeah, pretty excited about that. It's going to be a good change. It was 10. It's going to be a good change for that. I guess it's 5 sections now. I don't know. Let me know what the math is. Very good change for just the game in general. It definitely has felt bad in the past where I've had to go and lower my damage but increase my attack speed in order to hit damage cap. It's just gonna be kind of cool just to see even bigger numbers as well. And then for the login stuff, we're just gonna get a whole bunch of battle pack spirit crystals and stuff. There's going to be a Outlaw's order thing that's going to give us a lot of rewards as well, including battle pack stuff or pack spirit stuff, banners and stuff. And there's going to be, I think that this one here is a purple drop upgrade token, which you can use on any pack spirit. And so if you have a purple pack spirit that you want to level up, be able to use that on, which is pretty cool. It looks like you're probably going to get the seasonal purple pet as well, and just a whole bunch of good rewards here, free cosmetics and stuff just from playing the game and going through and doing stuff. They're also doing a new permanent event that is a pack spirit giveaway, and this banding bush I don't think will reset because it says each account can only claim once, and this event is permanent. But it's kind of a catch-up mechanic. So if you're checking out TLI for the first time, it's going to give you the opportunity to get up several of the popular pets and one free legendary battle pack spirit, just pick pack, which is just super duper good. This is very, very good for everybody. And if you played the game before, you'll be able to just pick up all of these right away, I'd assume. But yeah, it's very, very cool for that. We're also getting some new cosmetics. There'll be a new cosmetic for the new Karino Rosa 2. Looks like she is going to be kind of in some sort of rose outfit. And Moto didn't really get their maid outfit, but they kind of got a jester outfit here, which we can go and show what the actual screenshot of this looks like here on the website. Yeah, so this is like the promo image here. Rosa's outfit, Midnight Rose, and Moto's gender bending outfit, Bizarre Sweetheart. So if you're a Moto fan, but you don't like playing dwarf, there you go. Pretty cool. And there's also just like this ultimate, I think it's probably like the super duper premium banner, which I really never pull on. This like crazy sword field thing, which looks kind of nuts. It seems like whenever you encounter a elite, it like, you know, builds out sword fields or something and executes them. It's all graphical kind of stuff. You're getting new, you know, pack spirits as well. The Professor Source is the new pack spirit for the seasonal mechanic, and it seems to be very strong, very, very strong. Probably I think about like 44% more loot, maybe even more. So probably gonna be on par with the Arcana pet. And yeah, it's kind of crazy. Just pretty cool to see that, like, I don't know, they are continuing to do this kind of stuff, but also a little bit worried that it's kind of strong. So yeah, the Azure Gunslinger is you know, another one of the battle pack spirits they're adding, and then we also get the Valkyrie's Night Patrol, and we can just talk about these real quick. So the Valkyrie's Night Patrol is a mana consumption pet, which pretty much probably only work with Rosa 2 unless you're playing some sort of build that actually consumes their mana. It gives you like elemental resistance penetration, gives you, I believe, more damage as well. And this only happens when you consume your mana. Professor Source, like I said before, there's a 22% chance to basically double the rewards from enemies you see. And then you can turn that into tripling the rewards. And they also have a thing here where any target unit that offers rewards has a 28% chance to have double rewards. So that could maybe be triple rewards or sextuple. How many is 6 times? That could be a lot of rewards. So I think that Professor Source is maybe too strong, but we'll have to see. As your Gunslinger, every time you use an attack mobility skill, you get a stack of Pure Heart. Pure Heart gives you damage reduction and also gives you additional damage as well, 5%, and I think it stacks up to 6 total. So yeah, this gonna be kind of a interesting pack spirit to go. The last thing here is the gift code for the reveal. TL0718T is the reward there, and the other code that we have right now, let me just type this out, is 2025 TorchCon. That should give you 10 battle pack spirit pools. So hopefully this video helped you out. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. I'm very excited to check out the new season and blast. I'm probably going to start Rosa 3 or for 2. Sorry. We'll see you guys again soon. Later.